Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to show you how to restore your headlights from this to this with around $20 worth of materials. I will also have optional mentions of tools you could use to speed up the process, so stay tuned. Today we will be working on the headlights of my 2015 Toyota Corolla. I have already gone ahead and fixed one of the headlights to show you guys how to do it, and we're going to go ahead and work on the other one and do a step-by-step process. And here's what it looks like with the lights turned on, so you can see the difference of the final effect. So first off, my old lights were heavily oxidized, and this just happens over time. The coating wears out, it just happens. And the real way to fix this is kind of just to sand it down, buff it if you can. If not, you don't need to, and then just clear coat it. Now there's different ways of doing each of these steps. You could do it for very cheap and have something that doesn't last as long, or do it an expensive route and have something that also might not last long. It really varies. So today I'm going to show you guys a good middle ground. I did this with just extra materials and sandpapers I had laying around my garage, and within around 2 hours. So I'm going to show you step by step what to do. So for materials, I only had the following sandpaper: 1,000, 1,500, and 3,000 laying around, and I didn't want to buy any other ones, so that's what I used. But feel free to use anything within those ranges, as well as any buffing compound that you use for paint, painter's tape, a microfiber cloth, and anything to go ahead and cover up your paint so you don't get overspray on it, as well as wax and tar remover, and some headlight restoration spray or clear coat. I would recommend the spray that I used in this video. All the products mentioned can be found in order in the description below if you're interested. And an optional tool would be the buffer. You can use any polishing buffer or similar tool if available. If not, a microfiber cloth will do. Alright, so to start off, we're going to go ahead and grab our tape and go ahead and tape around the edges, tucking in as much as possible. After taping, then lay tarp or cardboard or any material around the edges as such, and just tape around it to not allow any overspray on your paint. Next up, we're going to start with the sandpaper, starting from 1,000. We're going to go over the whole headlight. And here you can see 1,000 after I did my pass with 1,000, then 1,500, as well as 3,000. And I just did circular passes all the way around, just trying to get it all covered, trying to get as much oxidation out as possible. And make sure that while you're sanding, you constantly have the surface wet. I used a spray bottle, but holding a hose or any water constantly spraying at it is critical to a good finish and a good result. After my 3 wet sanding passes, this is what my headlights look like. And now we can go ahead and buff it. And you can do this either by hand or with a buffing wheel. I used a cheap buffing wheel that I have, but doing it by hand when circular motion and a microfiber cloth will work just fine. Just make sure you're using a polishing compound or buffing compound. That will work. And here's an example of what hand polishing can look like with just a microfiber cloth. In my case, I used the cheap buffing wheel I have, or polishing wheel. I applied the buffing compound directly to it and then spread it evenly. And then in the regular setting of it, I just turned it on and just went around, back and forth, making sure to get everything consistent, spreading you throughout the whole headlight. And after polishing, wiping off any excess with just a microfiber cloth, this is what the final result looks like of the polishing process. Now we can move on to the final step. Now we are just going to use a little bit of wax and tar remover and the microfiber cloth to clean the surface. And if you don't have that, you could use alcohol or any other material just to very quickly just clean the surface as good as possible before we move on to the next step of clear coating it. And for clear coating, like I mentioned earlier about the headlight restoration spray, now we're going to spray it evenly in medium coats following the instructions from the back of the bottle. And here's the final result after painting and letting it dry. The paint fully hardens after 24 hours, but is ready to touch in less than 1. So feel free to do it outdoors. Be safe, sit back, and comment for more tutorials or give me any feedback.